Hi, this is Lindsay and welcome back to my channel. So I have had requests to do more of this watch me work type videos, and they're fun to film, so I thought that I would do it. I'm working on 4 Traveler's Notebook junk journals, and the theme is wild nature. These are custom orders and they're all going to the same lady. And so I'm going to be using my vintage mushrooms on the front. You can purchase them as journal cards in my shop, but I just printed them out on some paper. And so I'm going to be decorating 2 covers in this video. I've sped it up to twice the speed, and I'll just talk through a couple things that I'm doing. So on each of the journal covers, I am adding some kind of lace or trim, and lots of layering going on, a little bit of stitching as well. I try with my workspace to have everything within arm's reach, even if that means piles or messy, because getting up and down for every little thing wastes a lot of time. So as you can see, I have a glass cutting mat in front of me, and I bought this for a couple of dollars at Walmart instead of buying the Tim Holtz mixed media glass mat, the new one that just came out. I really still want it, but this one I think was $4 versus the 30 something the other one would be. I'm inking up. I'm using gold ink for the front here. I have a piece of wallpaper and then the mushroom image. So I'm just going to stitch them together, and I'm just using a straight stitch, and I'm going around twice just to add some extra texture. And then I'm just deciding where I want to place it, playing around with other layering and pieces and all of that. My trusty hot glue gun. And then I also grabbed my bottle of Fabrifix glue just to kind of tuck down some of these edges that were still up. And this is my button bucket, and I'm just playing with some buttons and seeing which ones I would like to use. And I'm going to use some upholstery thread to sew these buttons. And I like to just faux stitch them. I like to just stitch them by hand here and then hot glue it on. I'm going through twice because the upholstery thread is really thin. And then I'm not even snipping off the ends. I'm just kind of leave the ends hanging just for more texture. I think this whole theme of a journal really lends itself well to kind of stitching and messy and stuff like that. So I'm doing the same thing with this button and leaving the ends, no tying off or anything like that. Makes it super easy. I keep bumping the camera because it's right there to my left and I have so much I grab from that side. But if I put my camera on the other side where I'm less likely to bump it, you have a really weird angle and you can't really see what I'm doing. So here's my crocodile, and these are all going to have tassels. So I'm just putting in a little eyelet up in the corner here so that I can attach a tassel later on. And I forgot on this one to add an eyelet as well, so I'm doing that. This is the one I made before I started the camera. Now I'm going to make one more. This is a light gray cardstock, inking the edges in gold. Going through my bin of lace and trims, and this is the mushroom image that I'm using, so I'm holding it next to it to see which lace I want to pull out. And since I picked a thin one, I'm trying to decide whether I want to add any more, but I decided not to. So I'm just going to stitch it on the front edge of this cover. And then I have to rethread my machine because it pulled out. These scissors are terrible. They barely cut. I got them in like a pack of scissors at TJ Maxx, And they cut paper okay, but they do not cut fabric and lice very well. So I'm just ripping out around the image, and I'm going to figure out backgrounds and all of that. And I decided to make a paper ribbon with just this little piece of paper that's been hiding under my glass mat for weeks. And I thought that I liked the yellows and it would go well. So I'm just stitching it up. And then I will hot glue it down once I decide on placement. Most of the stuff is self-explanatory, so if I'm quiet, it's just because, you know, I didn't speed it up so fast this time. You can just kind of see what I'm doing. There's no big secrets or anything. I have a piece of wood grained cardstock here that I want to use as a backing, and I decided to rip it instead of cut it because I really like that rugged look. I love this gold ink. The brand is Color Box, and it's really juicy, and it leaves kind of like a gilded edge, so it's really, really pretty. Again, once I have the placement the way I want it, I'm going to use a straight stitch and stitch all the way around it twice. I'm hunting for something over here to the right. Oh, I'm going to throw up some pieces of fabric as possibilities. I have a fabric bin down here, and so I'm just throwing up different possibilities. And I want to go with this upholstery piece that I got from Lori Louise. She sent it to me, and I'm just going to cut a piece out as some backing. And then a little piece of this natural colored like linen as well, and I'm going to make a little ruffle with that. So now here comes the gluing part. I'm just grabbing my Fabrifix because my hot glue is going to dry a little too quickly for this, because I do not want to move this too much. I know right where I want it. And if you get right around where the stitching is, that holds it extra well. And the ribbon, which I will use the hot glue gun for that one. I'm going to pull out a button, and I found this little owl button, and since it's kind of a wild nature theme, I thought that would be perfect. So I'm grabbing my trusty upholstery thread again, stitching it out, and I am just going to hot glue it on there. And then I'll just show the covers. I hope that you really enjoyed this video. I loved making it, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.